I would say that the people are really desperate because they think that the classical political parties are incapable of answering to their really most important needs. This is what I think, that they are just looking for somebody new who will solve their everyday problems, because most of the politics is like a dialogue within a very narrow elite, and they are quarreling between themselves, and most of the times about the issues which have nothing to do with their everyday problems, while the everyday problems are not solved. For example, in Slovenia, for 20 years, they could not accept a law on long-term care for the elderly. And the population of the elderly in Slovenia is now over 20% of those who need this sort of support. Then young people stay and live with their parents till they are 35, because the prices of the rent of the apartment are so high, and there is no public policy for housing of the young people. Another example. Then, for example, 80% of all people who are now employed anew will get a precarious job. So they will not have a really safe economic situation, but will tremble all the time what will happen next to them, because they cannot get a well-protected normal job. And politics did nothing about that. Nobody, neither the left, neither the right. And the people are waiting for a political force which will deal with their everyday problems. And now we have, on the top of it, we have a climate crisis, we have this war in Ukraine, which made everything so complicated and difficult and dangerous. And the people, they don't know what to do. And they punished all parties, traditional parties, in these elections. 70% of the people came out to vote, but they have left out of the parliament 4 traditional parties, pensioners, and 2 liberal newer parties, and a bunch of new parties which tried to somehow become partners of the radical right. They erased them all and gave practically nearly all the power to a newcomer.
The problems you highlighted in your questions are clearly among them, and they are strongly interlinked with one to another. If I would just say, of course, lack of checks and balances, lack of rule of law, and especially the lack of media freedom, because it's all built up together. On paper, we are living in a democracy. We have all the institutions and all the rules and regulations and law. We should protect Hungary as a democracy. However, in practice, is not how it works. I think also the European Union finally realized that this checklist approach towards Hungary doesn't work anymore, because our government misusing its power, they got the 2/3 majority within a fair election. However, after all, they used this power, which let them allow not to consult anymore with opposition, with municipalities, with the civil society sectors, with professionals, because they already have the political power to decide from one night to the other. And they kept making decisions overnight in the past 11 years. And meanwhile, of course, they not just rewrote the constitution, but also they rewrote the electoral system, which made it almost impossible to win back the power. As like the last election, they only got 48%, and it's resulted a 2/3 majority. And of course, they also gradually and systematically destroyed media plurality. Therefore, after 10 years, mostly the governmental propaganda messages going around the country. People doesn't even know what kind of alternative could exist. This is why right now we are joining forces in the opposition, created a 6-party coalition, and try to also use methods to spread our messages, which is out of the box. This is what Momentum kept doing since we started as a party 4 years ago. We are always been better at the streets. We always been better to go person by person, door to door. And I think that the majority of the people wants a change. After 11 years, a lot of people feel that although we are not living in a dictatorship, but there's not that much freedom as they dreamt 10 years ago. Well, as Momentum is not just the youngest party on paper, that means that we were the last one of the Hungarian parties to be formulated, but also by age. And of course, we started with our circles, using the tools what youngsters using nowadays, which at the beginning, a lot of people were laughing about us. We created GIFs, we created short videos, we created a lot of fun tools, which right away wouldn't named as political tools. However, you have to find the different channels to reach out to people you want to involve. And we decided that one of the main tasks of our party is to reach out to our generation, because the reason why we created a party as young adults was that we felt that nobody representing us. Everybody is campaigning with retirement issues and taxation issues and so on and so, but nobody cared about the growing unemployment rate within the youngsters, how difficult to start the life. Nobody really cared about particular educational questions that it's really reliable for us. Therefore, we choose methods to make fun of politics. I mean, make it sexy, as we call it. Politics is not for 60+ men in suits in the parliament. For politics is basically about everything what the public is interested. Everything is influencing our life, and youngsters has a voice in that. So far, it seems that we were really successful. We are the most favored party within the youngsters, and we're reaching out even to teenagers. We don't think that youngsters means only young adults. I think nowadays youngsters has a clearer vision what they want, and they see a lot of things that maybe other generation can't. But we don't want to make a generational issue out of that. But I think everybody should reach out to those that they can reach out the easiest. And I think we understand well the youngsters' voice. We're using not just different social media platforms, but also the way we communicate. Anybody can reach out to us, and we can grab a beer in a bar and just talk. Of course, now there's pandemic, but we are ready to do our easygoing way of doing politics as we always been.